Well, we're actually doing a Sertel walkie-talkie, but I've had to order a part in the hope that I can actually get it to do any receiving. I think the audio IC's knackered. So I wanted to do, I've done a big crystal discussion, so even if that radio doesn't get repaired, I will still post the video with it not getting repaired because of the crystal discussion. So that brings us to the next radio. Now I've had to put one of our dusters down because it's a bit immaculate. This 10th of September 2023, Midland 4001. It's a late one. 8050397. So 4001. So I think we've done the whole gambit of the Precision series in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I know we've got another 2001 which came from our mystery benefactor Alan, so that's another forthcoming attraction. So that's a freshly laundered duster, and yeah, that's it's about on a par with that one of ours which we showed a few days ago. There's just some little bits of touching upness. Is that a word? Right, so what we will do, shall we connect it up to power with the crocodile clips? Yes. I know we manufacture these power leads, but it means taking one out of stock. Connect it up to the test instrument. I expect this works beautifully and just wants a service. I'll put that meter away because I don't think we're going to need a meter on it. And we'll get our standard Cybernet mic, even though these are Max on set, they're wired as Cybernet. And we'll power it up. And there we are, coming on channel 1. So we want it in DX mode. We don't want the dimmer on. Cheeky dimmer just does the display. It's too complicated to do the meter lamp. We want the filter out so that it's more trebly, and we want it in CB, but we're going to check PA first. Then it's something we can cross off the list. Plugging our extension speaker on the wall into the PA jack and switching to PA. 1212. Oh no, we're not doing very well at all. We've got something noisy, haven't we? Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. So the switch needs cleaning. Switching it backwards and forwards a few times has brought that into normal operation. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2. I mean, it's self-cleaning, isn't it? Because they wipe. It's a wiping contact. So PA, the star there, clean, switch, meter lamps lit, internal speaker works. We'll go to picture in picture and put it into transmit. We're on the 3.3. So that's a nice balanced set. Doesn't have low power. And transmit current on channel 20 is 1.07. That's a bit high for 3.3 watts. Deviation, while at 1.5. We'll bring that up. We won't be doing the VCO. And let's see whether it's anywhere near on frequency. That's been on plenty of time. I've shown you the wrong meter. No, I haven't shown you the wrong meter. And we'll go into the frequency counter. 2779. I'm losing paperwork. There's so many jobs stacked up on here. 2779091. 2779091. So it needs pulling up a bit, but it doesn't matter if it wasn't. It's within legal spec. And the meter on the front says 4 when you key up. No, it's not doing 4. Turning to our attention to receive, we'll put 2779125 in on the signal generator. Well, we'll put it a bit low, 7909. Leave it there. That's a fair test. So it's 100 microvolts. The meter is reading S7. So to get it to read S9, we need to put in 180. That's not far out. Sockets work. I'm not sure about the switches and potentiometers at this stage. Right. Let's see what the sensitivity is. Go with the synad meter. And plug in the instrument speaker. Turn the volume up so you get a meaningful reading. So for 12, 0.56, 10, 0.52. Jolly well do it. We'll do 100 at 1 microvolt. Squelch. Is 1.5 millivolt, which is far too high. And threshold 0.36, which is excellent. Good. So we'll take this apart and get on with it. So normally you have the countersunk screw to the back. Oh well. We'll put it back together how it's presented. Perhaps I've just seen them all wrong after all the years. I'll have to look at the instruction book and see what it said. I might have been assembling them wrongly for 40 years. First screw's missing. So like a fool, I've not got the soldering iron on. Oh no, looking at that, I mean, it's not had any finger trouble. I think it just needs, it even smells of new radio. It's even got a Maxon branded speaker in it. They usually use Buckdo, don't they? And the capacitors look dodgy, and the Maxon made sets rarely have got any duff capacitors. Right, so we'll start by putting it on frequency. Back to the frequency counter and press transmit 2779088. There we are, it's gone. Right, see whether we can get a bit more out of the transmitter. So we're on channel 20, we're on 13.8 volts. Put the main meter up on the inset picture. So always add 0.4 onto what I'm telling you for power, because this takes off all interference. So it just reads the power left on the frequency on which you're transmitting, which is how it ought to be. But everybody else's power meter includes all the interference. So these things, 4 watts output, that's 4 watts with the interference. So when I say it's 3.6 watts output, that's the same as 4 watts output with the interference. So there you go, it's all a bit of a dodgy goings on. Most markets are full of dodginess, aren't they? Right. Especially the hi-fi market. There's more BS in that. When I was at Nottingham Radio, we had a customer come in, and he says to the boss, John, he says, John, he says, you want to come round to my house and look at my new, you know, whatever, Super Swish hi-fi. And John says, no, you want to come to my house and listen to my 1937 hi-fi. And John was right. When Adolf Hitler gave his address at the, was it the Munich Olympics in 1930, whenever it was, 7 was it? The amplification he had was not naff. There we go, bang on the 4. So they don't always do it, but this one has. They're not usually far off. So let's go through the other channels. Four watts on channel 40, 4 watts on channel 1. Let's take you back to channel 20 and see whether it's drawing a stupid amount of current or what. So 4 watts, 4 watts, 4 watts. Still not applicable, and the current consumption is 1.16. So it's only gone up, what, 50 milliamps to do that extra 0.7 of a watt. So on our meter on the front, banging across. It's the back preset there. That's a problem. How do we... Or is this a version I've not seen? I think we need a bit of cleaner on that. I think that's our problem. Let's try and set it again. Well, that's fine this time. Deviation, we better put it on the test set behind me. Wow, that's a bit low. We thought it was low on the Marconi test set. Wow. And out of interest, let's see what it says on this test set. Wow, wrong mode. Wow. It says it's 2.2, so it's not that stupidly wrong. Sometimes it's spot on. It's got capacitor issues. I'm too near retirement age to start worrying about that. 2.2 to 2.5 kilohertz. That's now reading 4. Clean meter TX preset. Right, we'll turn our attention to receive. Microvolts, and we want the oscilloscope on, and we want the correct frequency of 2779125. So we'll just adjust that from our previous test where we'd set it deliberately off frequency to get a fair reading. There we go. Turn the volume for a meaningful signal, and one of the letdowns on this chassis is the detector, and every time I say that it's spot on, except on this one where I was quite right and it needed adjusting. Yes, Mr. Tango. Over to the synod meter, and we'll see whether there's anything more to be had from this already excellent receive. Now, having just adjusted the detector, the sensitivity now may be worse. So don't be surprised when we've done all the tune-up and the sensitivity shows to be worse. At least it won't be garbled and sound like Donald Duck or a Darling. So that one, no adjustment. Well, that's needed adjusting. That's needed a little tiny touch as well. Don't think that's made any difference. Okay, we'll get a fresh reading. So is it better, or is it worse but not garbled? So for 12 dB, we now have 0.41. For 10 dB, we now have 0.36. And for 20 we've got 0.82. So on this occasion we've fixed it better instead of worse. I'm tempted to spray this squelch preset before we start. It just seems the squelch is a bit iffy. We'll do the S meter. I'll put 100 microvolts back on the signal generator's attenuator. We now need this to read S9. It's reading S8 at the moment. So with that preset, because it's actually fitted on this one, this is kind of the third version of the chassis. That's spot on. You've got one which doesn't have a meter adjustment. You've got one where the meter adjustment is tagged on the back of the meter, and then you've got this third version where it's there. I think on sets where low power is an option, like the Colt 295A in the Maxcom 4E, I think that preset becomes low power, and we've got the S meter adjustment on the back of the meter. But not all these have an S meter adjustment, and I don't like to modify them so they have, otherwise you're losing part of the history, aren't you? It's like having a 1937 Rolls Royce and then cutting a hole in the dashboard because you haven't got a CD player. I wasn't supposed to have a CD player, mate. No. Right, see if we can get this squelch better. So squelch to full. 100 microvolts on the signal generator. And see if we can adjust it. Yes, we can. That's now 100 microvolts. And let's see where it is at threshold. That wants cleaning. It's 0.3. It's just on the cusp actually, so I'll put yeah, it's 0.36. It's no different, but it is different at this end. Probably been in a smoker's house, this. Right, well I'll go and take a lunch break and we'll come back and just do those and put it back together. So these sets have this antenna warning indicator. On the odd occasion it works. The way to set that is to have a matcher and an SWR meter. Set the matcher for something like just under a 3:1 setting, so that it's a really bad SWR, but not so far that it's going to kill the radio in 2 seconds. Then key up and adjust the AWI until it comes on at that kind of SWR. But you know, I don't know where the matcher is, so what we'll just undo is undo the aerial and key up for a fraction of a second. AWI's come on. That's it. Test done. Now I wouldn't, if it needed adjustment, I wouldn't adjust it like that. And then the normal transmit. I think there's a dry joint underneath. Just going to look for that. I've still got the RF meter not always reading as I've set it. So we're looking in this vicinity. So I'll turn the radio off, we'll just have a little look. Not to be confused with the 1990s Midlands that were riddled with dry joints. That's lack of cleaning of the component leads, not lack of soldering. So a few years later the leads start to tarnish. You get electrolysis between unlike metals and you get that bit of corrosion and your dry joints. Just nicely enough to get the radio out of warranty. So see whether that's got rid of it. I'll put the bottom on. No, it hasn't. So what's happening? Won't do it now, will it? But it did do it once. Check it's not this pesky AWI board. Put it back on. Give it a bashing from this end. Nothing now. Bottom on. Perfect every time, so whatever it was, I've hit it. Not there's any fee for that, so I just need to clean those switches, don't I? To do that I need a service hole switch cleaner with an applicator. Okay, so that's done. I've done the CBPA switch, I've done the squelch potentiometer. Never do more than you need to because you're also chasing the lubricants out. So you cure one thing, but you know you're starting with stiff controls for another reason. Now they were distinctly this way round, which is... no, let's prove which way round these go. They were definitely in factory, done at the factory like that. Turn it off and just ascertain. See, I'd expect the yellow to be audio hot. So the green, well, I've got it to negative, and let's unplug the extension speaker, or we won't get anything. No, honestly, I think that was wrong at the factory. The yellow's the audio hot. It doesn't matter anyway, it's not like it's stereo. Then it matters. So, it is to the back. I've checked. Because when you slide it in the bracket, you slide it in from the front. You don't fumble around and present it from the back of the radio. The countersunk screw goes to the back. Unplug the test instruments. So I'll do a 2001 next week. So the other bracket, countersunk screw to the back. Non-countersunk screw to the front. Now there was a missing screw on this set, wasn't there? And I don't seem to be able to get hold of M3 silvery screws. Is that what they're called? You know, there may be something kicking around on the bench. It's a bit... that's better than nothing, isn't it? It looks about right. There we go. Switch the gear off and plug it into the roof aerial, which is an Antron 99 or Solarcon 99 or whatever it is, 99. Cadbury's 99. Let's see if we can hear any of those naughty Nottingham people from 35 miles away. So DX. One nano, Roger. You'll be lucky.
He says I don't know what I'm going to give you yet. He's obviously giving me jobs now, fabulously. We're not very busy then, mate, because 4 or 5.
Very distant on 3. Roger. Right, well, we'll have that all ready for Mr. Chippy later on, doing on the air test. They always seem to work nicely. So there you are, seen a Midland 4001. So that's all 3 of the UK Precision series you've seen in the last 3 weeks. The 2001, 3001 and 4001. We didn't have any other ones for the UK market. Thanks for watching.